What it do, YouTube? Today I wanted to bring you along as I start and finish one of my art pieces. If you are familiar with my artwork, then you would know that the majority of my artwork comes with a concept, or makes you come up with your own interpretation for yourself and what it means to you, and like an interpretation that makes you think what this means to me and what was like the process going behind that. But in today's video, I will be going over like my whole entire thought process going into this piece. For this piece specifically, I got my inspiration from the song THIB by Isaiah Rashad, a part of his new album, The House is Burning. I specifically took inspiration from the chorus of the song. Let me get my vocals on real quick, and went like, "Who's that creeping in my window? Who's that fucking with my conscience? I was, who's that creeping in my window? Who's that fucking with my conscience? I was." That shit went so hard to me, so I obviously took that and I wanted that to be like the main focus point when going into this drawing. So as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm illustrating a man. I started out just going outline with my 2B charcoal pencil. That's where I do like all my outlines with, and then I just shade over it with a 4B charcoal pencil, and then I kind of just blend it out, as you can see that I'm doing. I also got a kneaded eraser, and then I identify all of my highlights, and then with my 6B charcoal pencil, that's where I identified all my dark values. Then I just blend them all together. Afterwards, that's when I kind of go into all the detail of the piece, starting with one eye, working to the other eye, and then the nose, and then I'll eventually get to the mouth, and then shape around the entire head. So as I continue to do some rendering on the face, I kind of just wanted to go over what exactly am I drawing, because obviously you guys can see that I'm drawing a face right now, but really this is the man just staring through a window looking at this girl, and you can kind of see where the girl is down in the bathtub. You know, she's looking at him, looking at her, looking at him type shit, you know. With most of my pieces, I've been adding like a lot so it can fill up the entire page. Like, you know, you can bring so many different interpretations out of everything that you can see. But for this piece, I'm trying to say more with less, if that makes sense. Because with a piece like this, I'll probably add some stuff down in the bottom corner or the right and left corner, just to make it more interesting. But for this piece, I really do want to just keep it simple. I've just been really wanting to like change up my style, or just change up the way I go about things, just so I can grow as an artist and learn new things about myself. And I feel like this is a good step forward into that direction. When it comes to the piece itself and how like it relates to me, the woman and the man staring at her through the window are both like a representation of myself in like two different scenarios. The woman at the bottom is holding a rose, just to as like a representation of like the kindness and then the love and the passion that she has going into life, right? I see that within myself, because I genuinely like to think that people have good intentions. I always try to think that like nobody's committing like devious acts, especially within any of my relationships with my family, my friends, or even my girlfriend. I generally like to think that, you know, there's nothing going on there. But, you know, life happens sometimes, and now I got to the point where I'm starting to rethink the way that I think when it comes to just other people. Because I don't like the idea that, you know, somebody's in my life to commit devious acts or try to hurt me or the people that I'm close to, or trying to ruin my relationship or anything along the lines. I don't like thinking like that. I like to think that everybody has true intentions. So with that being said, the man staring through the window is just like somebody who's just out to hurt me. And when I'm thinking about that, like if somebody's out to do this and this and this and to me, I feel like what is actually going on with them? Like what is the reason behind these acts, or like what's going on with them that they have to come into my life to make themselves feel better? In case you didn't notice, I do all my blending with paintbrushes. I don't really like to use any kind of blending sticks or anything of the sort. I feel like paintbrushes just kind of work best for me when it comes to shading. I know a lot of other artists do so. So if charcoal is something that you most definitely want to try out, I definitely recommend just using any old little paintbrush that you have. You don't have to go out and just buy some like brand new ones. I would say any of them really does its job. Aside from using charcoal pencils, what you see me using right now is called willow charcoal, and that's where I kind of just do like most of my big areas that I need to cover, and then I just go ahead and blend it in with a like pretty thick paintbrush. Any kind of large area that I need to just shade over is most definitely being used with willow charcoal. Unless I need to go dark than that, and then I'll just use some charcoal sticks and then do, you know what I mean? See, now we are getting to the interesting part, because what I'm trying to do, and which is low-key just hard as hell for no reason, but I am drawing fire. Like this man's head is set on fire, and that's just like represent that he's been going through something. Like his mind state ain't right. With somebody going through so much and have so much going on with themselves, at some point it kind of feels like it's an obligation for me to actually do something and try to help them and be there for them to the best of my ability, right? My girlfriend often calls me Captain Sabo, which is pretty fitting, you know what I'm saying? But like for the purpose of this piece, it's not, or just in general, that's not always the case in the direction that I should go in. But with the piece itself, that's what it shows that I am trying to do. If you put me in the position of the woman in this piece and how she's holding the flower, she's obviously like offering her services, offering, her availability to just actually be there for that person. That's why she's giving him that attention. Now, I have also mentioned that there's a second way that you could also interpret this piece, with me being represented as the man staring at the girl through the window, the one who's actually on fire. See, now that has somewhat of a different situation in my opinion. For this one, it is I who's the one who's going through something. It's not gonna lie, for the majority of my life, I kind of feel like I've been flawed in some way, or I've never been able to amount to the things that I wanted to be like, successful in. I often feel like, there's always something like missing a part of me, like maybe just something missing a part of my soul, part of my heart. I'm just flawed in some way. I've been doing a lot better on that, so I don't need no therapy sessions in the comments. But I've been doing a lot better with that. But in somebody in that situation who feels the way that I do, it's comforting just to feel like, love and appreciation from other people. And, that's why I really do cherish everybody around me, because, they make me feel happy and they make my heart full. And, that's kind of where like I sit in this piece from that. Like, ooh, I'm saying like a lot and I'm not fucking with it. So as I mentioned earlier, that I would typically go over like large areas with willow charcoal. For this one, I am using charcoal powder. And from like the charcoal sticks that I get from Hobby Lobby or whatever, I just get some sandpaper and then, I kind of just rub them together, kind of grind it up. And then it makes this charcoal powder, which is very useful for times like this. I can just kind of like blend it out and do what I got to do with my paintbrush. As you guys can see, it does its job pretty well. But after that, that's when I went in with my charcoal stick towards the end, the little corners of the piece. This is a wall that I'm actually drawing right here, because that's going to be one wall. The other side is going to be another wall. Then right down the middle, is the window that they're both looking at each other. And I would say one of the hardest things about making art pieces like this, or making things so realistic but surreal at the same time, is finding where like my light source is. Because as you see, as you will see when I go down to finish more of this piece, from the inside of the house or the building, there's not going to be much light in there. So like the majority of the light is actually coming from outside, coming from that man, and which is something that you'll see me get into, especially when I start illustrating this woman. As you can see, I've now started with some of my erasers. I have a little eraser pen. I started going again with the highlights, which is going to be like the top of the head, because you're not going to have much highlights when it's something being like in front of her. So like the back side of her is going to be like mainly just a bunch of shadows where her dark values are really going to shine. And I think that was just the most tricky part about this, because with art pieces like these, there needs to be like some sort of balance, because I don't want an art piece to be like overall too dark and then like overall too light. It has to be like some sort of balance, like a yin and yang type of deal. I can't speak for everybody else, because everybody has their own little thing going on, but I would say this life as an artist, it kind of really is just lonely as hell sometimes, which is not a bad thing at all, because I feel like it's very important for me to have like my own alone time. And lately I've been thinking about just kind of like shutting myself out of the world, and that's kind of hard, because at this point, I like sharing my artwork with people, so I got to use social media for that, because that's just something I enjoy doing, right? But other than that, like, I'm trying to stay away from social media as well. I'm trying to like distance myself and use the full source of my ability to like create and be creative and just focus on my artwork solely. I personally never want to rely on somebody else. Like, I don't really want to rely on my friends. I don't really want to rely on my family for anything. I kind of just want to, do my own thing, So, like, when it comes to this piece, and you see me as the man staring at the woman, like, it's like me calling for help, and that's something that I don't like. So the purpose of doing this is just to help me realize my flaws in that and try to be grown up in a sense. Each time I create a new art piece, I'm always learning something new about myself, and I think that's what's truly beautiful to me, and that's probably the main reason I love making art myself, because as you can see from all my artwork, like you can see on my Instagram or even on my website, you should go check it out, isaiahreedart.com. But you can clearly see that, my artwork is never just a pretty picture. There's always something behind it, and that something is always just a part of me. Every time I put my artwork out there for like the public eye or featuring in art shows and galleries, I'm literally putting like my soul out there. I'm putting everything out, and that's something that I just love too, because like the interactions that I get, it's truly like inspiring. Some of you may be thinking, like, as you're watching this video and as I'm creating this piece, if I'm actually learning anything from the things that I've talked about when it comes to like the concepts and stuff. Do I actually learn anything despite having to like clearly understand what my issue is? Do I have a solution at all? Truthfully, it probably is a no. I don't have a concrete answer, but I do feel like it's like more of a wake-up call. One thing for sure, and like one thing I really don't want to do is just depend on the love from others. I want to be okay with just, being myself and being by myself first and foremost. I just want to be okay with me. If you're an artist or if you're just somebody who's just looking for a challenge, I feel like you should go ahead and just take this opportunity to make an art piece that's strictly just for you. Maybe something that you want to work on for yourself, or maybe just something that you're proud of yourself for doing. Try to illustrate that to the best of your ability, and I would very much like to see it. So if that's something that you want to do, please, by all means, go ahead and send it to me. My Instagram will be in the description below, so like all my other social media, so feel free to just hit me up. Like I'm really cool like that. As far as my thoughts going into this piece and into this project, I would say that's probably it for this one. I really don't have any more to add here. I feel like I had a good conversation with y'all. Thank y'all for listening. I'm gonna just let y'all enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you letting me talk your ear off. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video. And with that being said, this is my piece, Who's That Staring Through the Window? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments.